All right, except for me. All right, except for me. Sounds
I
like
hear
that.
it.
Sounds like I'd hear it. All right.
Hear
All
it.
right. Sounds like I'd hear it. Oh, echoing. Mute the stream again. Yeah. All right. All right. Welcome back. Most likely Wright and or maybe Izzy and Liz when they rewatch it later. I think they're the people who've seen it on YouTube. We've had a couple more, but no one's left any comments, so who knows who they are. This week, as you can tell, we're one down of our normal, but we're one up of someone new for anybody who does watch.
Yay.
Jake had a baby this week, and that is Izzy's wife, Liz. We're still talking about episodes 6 through 12 of Erased, and I'm sure Jake will have something to say about it when he comes back. But man, what a show!
Suspenseful. So much to just talk about.
Yeah,
Great show.
Yeah,
you're echoing again
it's
a little
probably
bit.
one of my favorites.
But yeah, it was a good one. I know Jake and Izzy have seen it before. Liz, have you seen this one before, or did you watch it for the first time too?
No, I've seen it before. This was
Okay.
probably my fourth anime. I think this was the first anime I watched by myself without Izzy after
Oh.
he introduced me to anime. And then I got him to watch it like immediately after because it was so good.
What?
Yep.
You were a band kid in high school. You didn't watch any anime in high school?
No, One Punch Man was my first, and I think I was a freshman in college, maybe.
Yeah.
Dang.
Later
Yeah.
on.
All right. I didn't. All right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. So I guess I'm still the only one who this was the first time I've ever seen it. For some reason, this one was on my watch list for years, but I just never actually took the time to watch it. And I'm kind of glad I did because we're doing this now. But also, like, man, I should have watched it years ago because this was amazing. It was hard because last week I watched 1 through 6 so we could do the podcast, and it was hard to stop there. I try to keep my reactions to real time. Me actually having a real reaction without acting like I didn't know what was happening. But now I know what happens, and
Yeah.
man, I was nowhere close with my guesses on who the killer was last week. The one episodes 1 through 6, like, did not get into who it was at all except Junpei and Junpei's dad. And then, like, all of a sudden, this episode, we'll get into it in more detail later, but, like, episodes 7, 8, and 9, it's just, like, starts hitting at it so strong on who it is. It's so obviously not anybody else that was said beforehand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
And I like how he checks on that too. But like you said, we'll talk about it.
yeah. Yeah, so like always, I have some notes, or we can just get into it. I don't know what you did or how you want to get into it this week, Izzy, but whatever works for y'all.
I do like the recap of the episode.
Okay, yeah,
And
I've only got like 3 to 4 sentences on each episode. I didn't take super detail because I figured we'd just go into it in more detail after I said it. But we'll start at 7. Let's see here. Let me scroll up in my notes. So Satoru is arrested, and as he's walking to, or being walked to the cop car, he sees the killer, and another revival is triggered, returning him to 1988, 4 days before Kaio's abduction. After her birthday party, he builds He builds he builds Junpei an alibi and considers confronting Kaio's abusive mother. Kenya stops him, and out of desperation and running out of ideas, they decide to quote unquote kidnap Kaio, but really they just stash her in an old school bus behind elementary school, and then the episode ends with someone ominously approaching the bus, or actually they walk in the bus, but like that's the most broad 1,000-foot overview of this episode. There's obviously a lot to get into, but it starts, I mean, this one, after episode 6 coming into this one was a banger. This was probably my favorite of the last 12 episodes, besides the last episode. Last episode was pretty good, but like between all of them, this one was great. It doesn't really replay a lot, like, which I enjoy. It kind of skips all the stuff that's already gone over. You know what I'm saying? And then gets
Hmm.
just right back into progressing the story. Like, usually at a halfway point, there's like a, hey, here's kind of what happened recap episode for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it being a shorter anime has saved us from that
Oh,
because yeah, after
100%.
season
Yeah.
one or like the first arc, you have that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like there was like subtle differences, so they could have just been like, "Oh, hey, here's the exact same episode as episode 6, but with minor or maybe not episode 6, but like episode 4 or whatever before he goes back to the present again, but with minor differences." Because in this one, I think it was like he said something about, oh, he said that yesterday. I can't remember exactly the scene, but like he mentioned a couple things that were off by a day or two in this one. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes.
Um,
Yeah.
But obviously, my favorite part of this episode was when he was about to push Kaio's bitch mom down some stairs. I don't know if that was y'all's favorite or not, but I was like, "Oh shit, dude, he's about to
Yeah.
do the damn thing."
He had intent for sure, but luckily his friend came in behind him and was like, "Don't do it. You don't know if it's gonna be worse than just a trip, you know? You
Yeah.
may like die."
Yeah, you may kill her, I think is what he says, and then he's like, "You're just gonna end up in more trouble." But
Yep.
Which this episode for me was one of my favorites because at this point you know that Kenya is probably not the killer. Like
right,
he for whatever reason is like super involved in episode 7.
yeah, he goes from just like background character to like main, I guess, side character, which sounds weird to say, but like, I don't know what the like duotagonist or
Mhm.
whatever the word is. Like,
Yeah.
like I think at one point he asked him about a book, and then it starts introducing him more because he's like, "Oh, that was a lie. I just needed to talk to you." And he's like, "Let us help. Trust us." And it was him and the dude who looks like a girl that become like the main out of the like crew of boys, I guess, helping to save these
Mhm.
people. And yeah, because there was one point in the first 6 episodes where I did think Kenya could be the killer, but like I didn't. He wasn't near the top of my list just because there's one weird scene where like every time someone has evil intent, they have red eyes, and for some reason it was never really answered. But there's a scene where Kenya has those red eyes in the first 6 episodes.
Yeah, he's
And
talking to the professor
yeah,
at night, which I thought was even weirder. Which most of these animes, I'm always wondering, like, why are these kids out at night? Like, he was walking his friends out at night. It was pitch black. Luckily, there wasn't anybody out, but I'm always like, surely these people's parents are like, where's my child?
yeah, maybe I don't know. It's also like pretty common to walk everywhere you go over there, so or
Yeah,
take
fair.
the train if you're going somewhere far, So it's a little different, I guess, that way. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that's a good question, I guess, for most people. It's like, I mean, why are like everybody? It's I mean, Kaio, obviously she was getting abused, but like originally she was just chilling in the park alone.
Yep.
But yeah, like besides him, he gives Junpei an alibi in this episode too, which is pretty cool. But like, I didn't
Mhm.
realize it the first time I watched it, but when you had it on earlier, Izzy, when you were on the call, he like went into Junpei's room, and I thought it was just random the first time I watched it, but asking where his dad slept, and then coming back later to throw that rock through the window.
Get his
Yeah.
attention. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know why I didn't connect that the first time. I was just like, that's fucking random. Does he still think Jun? I mean, at the time it was like maybe he's just convinced that Junpei's dad's the killer, which I get. But
Which I mean, at the same time, I guess are spoilers allowed? Like if we talk about Junpei's dad at episode 7?
Uh,
I mean, go for it. I mean, at this point, if people are
At
watching
this,
this and
like when
haven't,
like when he throws the rock through his dad's window, he's giving them both alibis at the same time. And
yeah,
that's
that's a
never
good
really
point.
talked about.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his determination was just to give Junpei an alibi. So maybe originally, yeah, that wasn't touched on at all. Maybe originally he just thought Junpei would be the only one home at the time.
Maybe, yeah, but it's definitely his dad who like opens up the window and
Yeah,
screams
it's
at
like,
him,
what the
which I
hell?
don't think he would have thought about either, because I do think he's convinced that it's the dad, or at
Oh
least
yeah, at
partially
this point, I
convinced.
think Satoru, because up until a super obvious turning point, I think Satoru is completely convinced that it's Junpei's dad.
And you
Right.
don't see Junpei's dad until later.
You see him when that rock gets thrown, and you see him in the super obvious turning point, but you don't actually see
Mhm.
him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to build a case against the dad when you've seen most of the other people he's thinking that it could be just investigating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything that stood out to y'all in this episode besides anything else before we go to 8?
I'll just start up with the intro of the anime. I've watched it more in depth. Usually, like say, I skip it after I watch the first episode. But being shorter, you notice so many more things later on. I like how it starts out where he walks into the theater and he sits down and he's like 29, 28, and then his younger self joins in and he like can see the life in him, just like a little kid, excited, but he's over here just like, you know, just all chill, nonchalant about it. Just shows the differences in when he was younger to him being older the first time around.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because when I guess in this one, at this point, like, because at the end he reads his intro to the or his story that he wrote for that school project. You know what remember what I'm talking about?
Nope.
And like, it makes it like the first go around. I kind of didn't really notice it during the first 6 episodes, but it is kind of touched on where he is just like standoffish, but like the whole time he's like around those group of guys at least, and then super. You know, he's on a mission, obviously, but I've been outgoing as always with Kaio, so it's like, you know, to me, I didn't really get that, but that is a good point. Like, when the comparisons do happen from his original to now, it's like every time he remembers something, especially the flashback scenes, he was alone, you know?
Yeah, I do think him coming back this time and like making his friendship with um, Kenya in efforts to help Kaio. It just something that he didn't do before, and he was trying to do it by himself.
Yeah.
So growing friendships, growing bonds.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else for you, Liz?
Nope.
Nope. All right, we'll go on to 8. So, episode 8, Satoru continues hiding Kaio in the school bus, but an intruder breaks in, leaving behind suspicious items. Realizing it's no longer safe, Satoru brings Kaio to his house where his mom welcomes her. The next morning, Kaio is moved by her first real breakfast. Later, Satoru and his mom prepare to confront Kaio's abusive mother. Once again, super short, but that pretty much covers everything in this episode. There's besides the scene where, you know, Kaio, it's like heartfelt because like Kaio, poor kid, the whole series, and then she like something as simple as some eggs, bacon, and rice, like, you know, just moves her to absolute like almost tantrum amount of tears, you know.
Yeah, I felt bad, dude. Just the decline in effort for her nutrition, like a cup of ramen, a slice of bread,
Yeah,
and just change. Like that's
yeah.
terrible.
This episode, yeah. I mean, anything that has to do really with Kaio showing her home is like super heavy. And so this one, I mean, just like I said, something as simple as breakfast moves her to tears. It's like, man, this poor kid has never had a good day until, you know, Satoru came along, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
And this
uh,
also adds to the case that Satoru's mom can cook. Like he cried, now she's crying over her.
yeah, that's true. Well, I think to be fair, I think Satoru cried because he thought his mom was dead. But yeah, she did just so happen to be cooking at the time. Um, I'm sorry, Liz. I have
My
you muted
favorite
when Izzy talks.
characters.
Can you restart?
You're fine. I do think that what's her name? Sachiko? Satoru's mom. I think she's one of my favorite characters. She
Oh yeah,
just is so like in tune with what's going on around her. Which I mean, she's an investigator, like she's a reporter, so it makes sense. And the fact that she just lets Satori like figure it out and just kind of like congratulates him and assists him along the way without making it super obvious is really cool to me.
Yeah, she's the cool mom, and it's kind of wild how important her character is to the story for how little her involvement is. Because it's like
Mhm.
everything that Satori was planned, she's may have acted standoffish, but she knew every step, 3 steps ahead of whatever he was doing. Like I
Oh
think
yeah.
as soon as they opened the door and asked if Kaio could say, she was like, "Oh, I've been waiting for y'all to ask."
Mhm.
Um,
And it's funny how he still acts like a kid, being a 29-year-old. Like all the things that he does, um, the things that he says, like later on as
yeah,
the liner.
yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, like all the times he says something, he's like, "Oh, I said that out loud." It's like there's multiple parts where he like is thinking with his adult brain and still says it out loud.
So,
Um, let's see, and yeah, I think really the only thing they do in this episode about getting ready to confront his mom is like near the end, Kaio's on, or not Kaio, I'm sorry, Sachiko is on the phone with the teacher. And like this is where the teacher, after this episode, starts to become like a major player. Like he's been a major player this whole time, but like during the first 6 episodes, and even really up to this point, they set him up to be like an innocent, just regular teacher. But after this is like the turning point for his character. Like stuff starts happening, and you start noticing it, and then there's a real obvious one. And let's see, is it the next episode or is it 10? I think it's maybe 10, or maybe it's an. I don't know. I'll have to read my notes when we get there. But like, it almost at this point after this episode, it becomes obvious who the killer is to me. I think.
It's so hard for me to remember what I was thinking whenever I first watched it. I'm pretty good at predicting those types of things. So I think at this point I knew who it was, or I had like was 90% sure. But rewatching it, I really had in the back of my head, I'm like, am I thinking that it's the right person? But now, like once I got to this point in the series, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely remembering
Yeah,
correctly who,
I,
who it was.
yeah, that's an interesting because I truly up until this point I still kind of had no clue who it could be. I was still thinking, I guess it's still Junpei's dad. Like when is he going to get introduced? But then
Hmm.
I'm trying to read my notes and talk at the same time. I'm pretty sure it's the next episode where I'm like, oh, okay. It's obviously, yeah, okay, yeah, it is the next episode. It's obviously the teacher. Like, after
Hmm.
how involved he is. And then,
right.
like, he has a, well, we'll get there when we get there. But, like, anything else that stood out to y'all in this episode, this felt more like I mean, it's still a great episode. Every episode's great, but like getting ready for a major, I don't know,
Is
ending of a
this the
plot point.
episode where the grandma is brought?
No, that's the next one.
Okay.
This
This is the
one is
one
just like
where they just acclimated to the house after being in the
And this is just
hideout.
where she spends the night. So she
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
sees
much.
her
She
mom or
she
anything.
spends the
Okay.
night. It starts with them in the bus. They
Which
come
the
the next
bathroom
day.
scene just cracks me up. Like as a mom, that would be so dang awkward
Oh yeah,
to shower with somebody else's kid. Like, oh my God.
I mean, knowing her backstory, I would feel bad for her. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
have a good childhood, so it's like it's an innocent scene. It's not like,
Obviously, it meant a lot to her.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's set up to be an innocent scene, but I could see where you're coming from. Where it would be weird, especially if it's somebody your family's not particularly close to, or even still, it's like yeah,
Hmm.
it's a. But I mean, once again, completely different culture, probably somewhat normalized
Exactly.
over there, but to us, yeah, to us, definitely weird. But yeah, I think Izzy's right. It's just another way of them being like, oh, this is stuff Kaio hasn't really experienced before in her household.
Hmm.
These are how a kid should be treated type of things that she's going through right now.
yep.
Right.
Uh,
Oh, we have a
I
four.
see that Joe is inside our Discord chat. What's up, Joe?
Welcome, Joseph.
He's in here, but he's not saying anything. Feel free to cut in at any time, Joe. Did you watch Erased? All right, nothing from Joe. All right, moving on to episode number 9. So I have a note on this one because it just stood out. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Well, I'll read my description first. Kayo returns home after 3 days, but her mother, Akemi, reacts violently, accusing Satoru and Sachiko of kidnapping Kayo. CPS shows up and arrests. CPS shows up and Satoru's teacher. They show up to intervene. God, my notes suck, dude. I can't even
She
read
starts to argue with them and wants to go to the police.
Yeah. Akemi refuses to cooperate until Kayo's grandmother appears and takes custody of Kayo. Flashbacks reveal Akemi's own history of abuse. With Kayo now safe, Satoru shifts his focus to protecting the other children. Satoru's teacher... Satoru's teacher picks him and his mother up when they're walking home carrying some groceries, and during the ride, Satoru finds a ton of candy in his car. His teachers claim this is to help him stop smoking. The episode ends on a subtle cliffhanger with the girl who used to bully Kayo leaving the classroom, potentially following Satoru and his friends. There's a lot left out of this description. This one was an AI one, I'm not going to lie, because I watched this one at work, so I asked AI to do it. It's not very good, but basically, they confront Kayo's mom. She gets violent. CPS sees it. They take Kayo, or let Kayo go with the grandmother. In the next scene, Satoru's like, all right, now I got to start focusing on this girl who goes to this other school. I can't remember her name. And he's following her around one day after... what'd you say? I'm sorry.
I don't remember. I thought maybe it was Himika or something.
Let's see if the AI...
Let me see if I can find all of the character names.
But anyway, he starts following this girl, and while he's following her, his mother is like walking down the street, and it just so happens that his teacher's also driving by. His mom's like, hey, get over here and help me with these groceries. And so he like leaves the girl, or stops following the girl, helps his mom, and then, like I said, just so happens his teacher's there. He picks him up, and Satoru finds like an absolute metric fuck ton of candy in the dude's glove box.
Yeah, unhealthy amount.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, it's because I quit smoking. In case it wasn't obvious, this is where I started like, okay, it's obviously the teacher.
Yeah, they started playing more into it for sure.
A ton.
I started feeling
Like,
just the randomness of him being there for me was like the start of it. I was like,
yeah, well, when I was before the candy thing, I was kind of like, oh, I mean, small town, you know, they all know each other. Like, obviously, Satoru's mom and the teacher are close because they were talking on the phone last night, making their plans to confront Kayo's mother. So, like, not crazy that he would stop to pick him up, right? And maybe, like, they never really give the layout of the town they're in, so maybe not even that crazy that he's driving by, you know?
true, but I'm a rebuttal with we grew up in a small town. How many teachers did you see out in the wild on the daily?
Different culture, brother. Different culture.
I guess. True.
No, I mean, that's a good point, too. Yeah, no, I saw none outside of school, minus, I guess, unless you count football games. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that doesn't count, you know? Oh, I don't know. I saw Coach Delk all the time back when that little red barn to turn towards my old house was a bar. I saw him out there quite a bit.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so there's a little quote, or not really a quote, it's just a one-liner from Kayo's mother, of all people, in this episode, where she calls Kayo a little retard. And I was shocked to hear that. I was like, oh my God. Like, I know Kayo's mom fucking hates her, and like, but I was surprised that whoever did the dub, I kind of wanted to go back and watch this one in Japanese to see if, like, in Japanese they also called Kayo a retard. Like, it was so, for how abusive she is, for some reason this one came out of nowhere for me.
For sure.
But yeah, so not really. I mean, at this point, Kayo's safe. Like, she's with her grandmother. There's nothing. Like, Kayo's story's somewhat over at this point, and he's switching his attention to this other girl. Did you ever find the name, Liz? I can't remember it.
Yeah,
It was Aya.
It's Aya.
Aya. So
Yeah.
switching his attention to Aya, and really nothing besides him just kind of following her around, kind of getting like stalking her, basically, for lack of a better term, trying to figure out her schedule to be like, when could she possibly be getting kidnapped? And I think at the end of the episode, he realizes, oh, it would be now when she's leaving. I think it was cram school or maybe some sort of music lessons or something.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, the whole scene with the teacher in the car made it super obvious. Like, for a second, I was like, oh man, hard candy to stop smoking. I've heard that before. That's a good. For a second, I was like, that's a good excuse. But then I was like, but let's remember just how much spilled out of that glove box. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. For me, it was hard to think it was him because of the episode, like just before, where he's pretty much the father figure of Satoru.
yeah,
So looked up to him. So I was like, oh yeah, I mean, they just did such a good deed. They helped her out of that situation. It couldn't be him. So
Yeah.
then whenever they got into the car scene and then the candy dumped out, I was like, okay, I got off that trail again because I was like, it's just candy. Yes, it's a large amount, but I thought it was gonna be something more weird, like pictures or just like some sort of fetish type thing. And I was like, that would seal the deal for him thinking that it was a teacher, since the mom was asleep in the back. I
yeah.
almost thought the teacher was gonna say something too, like, I know you're like onto me or something. But
Yeah, especially after the scene with all the like his basically killer backpack, like his killer supplies. I was expecting something a little more egregious than candy too, but like I don't know. It was hard to believe it could be anybody other than him at this point. I didn't want it to be him because, like you said, I was like, oh man, he's a father figure to Satoru. He's a genuinely good guy. I was like, man, I really did not want it to be him. But it's like after this point, it's like who else could it be? They've introduced literally nobody.
yeah,
So that's
With so
why.
much-
Yeah, and I think that honestly, the first time that I watched it, whenever like way back, what is it, episode 2 or 3, when Satoru talks to his teacher about Kaio being abused and the
Mhm.
bruises, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I tried to fix that with CPS and it never happened." Like that was a huge red flag to me. And then when he reads her essay, I'm like, this is a cry for help. This little girl is obviously like in a bad situation and nobody's doing anything. And so
Yeah.
I honestly didn't really like the teacher all that much. I mean, they did a good job of playing him up and making him a,
it was cool.
a
I
cool
thought it was cool.
character. But I don't know.
Yeah,
He's a little off for me.
that's a good point. I didn't even think about that's actually a really good point because like my whole thing was like, oh, I could see that government sucks. Like obviously he's called CPS and they've done nothing. That's not a surprise, you know.
Mhm.
And then it's like the essay thing. I never thought about it from that point of view at all. Of like, oh, this is a cry for help because it's like I just assumed like even Satoru was like, oh, I didn't read it, so it's like, oh, probably nobody read them, so I never even thought about him that deep. But
Mhm.
yeah,
And every time they talk about the girl, Kaio, they're in like the teacher lounge, it
Mhm.
looks like. So there's other teachers around to where he doesn't really give like malicious like intent or just
Yeah.
wanting to get info or anything like that. It's just him giving the information. I called CPS. This is as much as we can do right now. So that's why I didn't really have a scent on him. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't
alright.
think so either. And then they kind of nailed down, especially in this, or maybe the previous or in this episode, when CPS reappears, they're like, oh, I guess she's gone again. Like, you know, the two agents are implying they've been here a couple times. And like the teacher said, they've gone and she's avoided them every time somehow. And, you know, so with that, I was like, oh, yeah, there's no way it could be the teacher. And once again, I still don't want it to be the teacher, but you know, especially after seeing the candy, it's like, who else could it be? There's no possible way it's anybody else in my mind. Being watching it for the first time, I just thought it was weird. Like they started, and also they kind of started playing like showing him in every episode too much for it not to be him and it to be somebody else. Because I kind of feel
Yeah.
like it would have been pretty cheap if like at the end they were like, oh, it was actually so and so, you know. After it's like, oh, this guy got zero screen time, episode 1 through 11, but for the last 5 minutes, episode 12, here's the killer. You know.
Yeah.
I do think they could have split it up a little more to where that you have the Kaio arc and then the friend arc or the Aya arc and then
Yeah.
the friend arc. But I mean, the pacing of the show was fine for me. I liked how it was just like on to this next situation. I'm not done yet.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely could have made this one a little longer, but I still feel like I said, I like you mentioned earlier, I didn't read the manga. You said there's some differences that you looked a video up on, which we'll touch on that near the end. But like I don't without knowing the source material, I don't know really what else they could have fit in more besides just giving more time to that second girl and then his friend, which kind of got no time really besides him or Satoru, Kenya, and God, I can't remember these people's names, but the girl that looks like her friend's like just being more involved with him and Kenya.
Ito?
Hold on, it says
Romy.
Romy.
Yeah, the boy that looks like a girl. That was the
Okay.
third one.
Yeah, so yeah, they really don't touch on how Satoru saves him at all besides just being like, "Oh, hey, hang out with me and Kenya more. Like we trust you. Like, you're in the circle."
I don't know what episode it is, but they do talk about how Hiromi's parents are like working all the time. And so
Yeah.
they don't get home until super late. And so the fact that he is hanging out with his friends makes it so that he's not just at his house
Yeah,
by himself.
I think it's this episode because Kenya starts or not Kenya, I'm sorry. Satoru starts walking him home and he's like the whole way here he's like, "Oh, I don't mind. I can get it from here." And he's like, "Oh, no, I go this way anyway, you know." And yeah,
Mhm.
that's when they say like yeah, his parents work late and they're never home. He usually gets home and no one's there type of stuff.
Yeah, kind
But
of
it's
sad that a friend's walking them better. I guess it was like a two birds with one stone situation. Building the friendship and then seeking out to help.
yeah. Yeah, it's just I guess it's more subtle for that one than anything else because it's not blatant like Kaio's or the other girl whose name you just told me that I forgot again.
Aya.
Raya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know at the end of this episode if Satoru really even thinks it's his teacher, though. I think he
I don't think he
lies.
does at all.
Basically.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't,
Yeah.
especially for what happens in the next episode. There's no way he or is it the next episode? Yeah, it is the next episode. Yeah, because he still very obviously trusts his teacher.
Mhm.
Like he bought he's quitting smoking hook, line, and sinker. You know,
Right.
but
Which they never get into, but it does make me wonder, like, the fact that Satoru, being a 29-year-old, is back in his kid body, if something in his brain, because he sometimes does really act like a kid, if his,
All the
like,
time.
thinking power isn't all the way developed.
yeah, I don't know because like he has those what are they called like it's not Freudian slips, but like he's thinking it and he actually says it out loud. And like there's a couple slips where he's like, "Oh, I said that out loud," you know, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like even in his adult body, though, in the
He
first six,
does
he
that.
does that a couple times too. So yeah, that's an interesting point because he really does act like everybody around him's like, "Oh, you're more mature now," but to us viewers, like he's still acting like a like I don't besides some random things, not too crazy for a middle schooler. I don't think. Or what are they? Fifth grade or sixth grade? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think they're 11.
Okay, so what is that?
So middle school.
Is
Yeah.
it- yeah,
Yeah, middle school.
middle school ish
To
age.
me,
I was thinking whenever they get out of class, I'm like, if I were an adult in a kid body and I had my adult mind, I'd breeze through the class and then like pretty much just think out the rest of the time, like what to do or what's happening right now. And you can see him, I think in one of the episodes, he's just staring at Kaio because he's like, it's about to happen. I need to figure out how to get her out of this situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he would be doing for like those couple days as it builds up.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know because Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say he
because I'm not
probably.
saying he acted like an idiot or anything, because
Um,
he had some good plans,
Yeah,
but
I
it
think
just
maybe
makes me wonder.
I think maybe it's more so the fact that he was when he finally realized like the actual dates that stuff happened on. Like I think it was more just so panic of how pressed for time he was than it was being like because if you have the time to think through something, obviously there's the initial panic and then it's like okay, let's actually think this through. Like sit down. He's just like for him it was just basically panic, think on your feet. How can I stop this? And then somehow getting a second
Hmm.
chance, it's even more so. I'd imagine way more stress inducing. Being like, all right, I screwed up the first time. How can I fix it this time?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I
Which
don't.
I do like the fact that he doesn't focus just on saving the kids, but he's starting to think about how is he going to catch the killer. So like
Yes.
he's working actively to save the kids, but at the same time, his end goal is like finding the killer, which is good because they eventually will hit on the fact that like the killer's just going to replace these children with other kids
Hmm.
that are vulnerable.
and he ties to the teacher for that too. He's like, just like the professor, he's gonna substitute something else. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. Anything about 10 besides what we've touched on stick out to y'all?
I don't know why his mom fell asleep so fast in the car. Like
I
they
mean,
don't give us a good
she's a single
timeline for
working
how
mom, dude.
long.
She was working all day,
Yeah,
carrying all those heavy groceries. She got in the car and passed out. I don't blame her.
she passed out, and then she woke up like 2 minutes later and had a snack.
Just some of that candy.
Yeah.
No, knowing her character, she was probably just acting asleep so that they would let their
Yeah.
guards down. I would imagine,
Hmm.
because like I don't know, it's hard to say that she probably didn't think that at the time, but like at the in the very first episode, she is like, I know exactly who the killer is now. It made so much sense. I don't know why we didn't think this at the time.
Hmm.
But so who knows? She every time she predicts something that Satoru's gonna say, he calls her a witch in his mind. So who knows? Maybe she did. Maybe she was from the future too. Maybe she's been using revival. Who knows? Um, that'd be an interesting spin-off
Yeah.
from Sachiko's point of view the whole time. But moving on to episode 11, is this one gets wild. Um, it opens. Wait, hold on. Did I just skip one?
Did we talk about 10? Or were we just
Yeah,
talking about
I
9?
think I just skipped 10. So I'm sorry. Go to episode 10, not 11. Satoru has saved Kaio, and he turns his attention to the girl from another school after. Wait, what the? Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Um, After integrating her into his friend group, he notices that a classmate, the girl who would bully Kaio, is now acting standoffish to everyone. Satoru follows her to a hockey rink. After finding her and waiting outside the restroom for her, he runs into his teacher. He sees Junpei's dad driving off. Satoru thinks the girl who used to bully Kaio could be in the back of his truck and asks his teacher to follow them. During the ride, the teacher reveals to Satoru that he's the kidnapper slash killer, and the episode ends with his teacher sending Satoru into a lake while trapped in his car, and Satoru's life seemingly kind of flashes before his eyes, and right at the end he yells, shit, what's the teacher's name? Whatever the teacher's name is, I know your future. And then it ominously, it's kind of just ends after that. Fade to black. This one was a pretty damn good episode, I thought. Up
Hmm.
up there with the likes of Seven and what was my favorite from the first six? I think it was three.
Gakyu?
Yashiro is the
Yashiro.
teacher
Oh,
name.
Yashiro, yeah. But yeah, this one was crazy because like it was like when uh so he sees the girl in the hockey rink, right? And then he's waiting outside the restroom for her. And this whole time I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? Something has to happen. Then the teacher shows up. I'm like, oh shit, dude, he's about to kill them both. Is what I thought for a second. But then he
Hmm.
sees the teacher had came in from outside of where this bathroom in this big hockey rink is, and and Satoru's like, "Hey, where's y'all you gotta tell me her name again. I'm sorry,
Misato.
Misato?
Yeah.
Misato Ayumi or something like that. Yeah, where's
Uh-huh.
did you see Misato? And the teacher acts like he just saw her outside, and he's like looking around, and it just so happens Junpei's dad drives by, so Satoru immediately thinks like, "Oh my god!" He sees a cooler in the back of his truck. It's like, Misato's in that cooler, like, and then like begs his teacher to like follow him, and then during the ride, it's like, the teacher's seatbelt's messed up, so the teacher like reaches over and like slams the seatbelt shut for him, and then is like,
Mhm.
"Oh hey, I'm the killer." Like, it kind of reminded me of. Do y'all remember Attack on Titan season 2? And there's that scene when they're standing on the wall, and Ardbert and the other dude is like it's faded away from him, and it's kind of quiet. It's like the scene's about to transition, and then they both go, "I'm the Armored Titan, and I'm the Colossal Titan." It
Yeah.
just came out of nowhere. Like, I was not expecting the teacher just to look at him and be like, "Oh, we're not following anymore because I'm the kidnapper." Like, you've ruined every one of my plans somehow. Like, that's what it reminded me of. It's just like came out and said it. Took absolute zero prying, zero effort on Satoru's part. Besides, like, Satoru at this point still completely convinced his teacher is a good guy, but his teacher's just like, "Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was me."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Satoru had given them all the things that like, they had done and all the hit like what was it? He was telling them that they were playing detective,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And that they were trying to catch that kidnapper, but they were trying to help first by just walking everybody home and being a better friend to everybody. But the part where he just had food for the kids, the teacher had food for the kids, and then just dipped. I was like, dang, that's a like caring teacher still to me. But
Yeah.
then he just spills it out. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It was super obvious when Satoru opened the glove box and he's like, "Oh, I'll take some candy," and then it's laxatives in there, so that tells you why the
Mhm.
girl was in the bathroom for as long as she was. And then after I saw that, I went from, okay, I was like 98% sure it's the killer to 100%, and then 3 seconds later, he just turns to him and was like, "Oh yeah, that's because I'm the kidnapper." Like, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Great
this,
reveal.
I mean, a lot. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, I kind of wish this one was like maybe 4 or 5 episodes longer, because I feel like these last 3 episodes they just jammed as much as they could into it. So
Mhm.
this one, like, I feel like they could have included something where, like, because it's episode 10, you think Satoru's gonna die, but in every anime ever, I don't think anybody actually thinks that, because, like, why would there be an episode 11 and 12? If he's the main character.
Mhm.
So it's like, it could have been like, I think there should have been an in between where they're like, how did they find him? How did he get out of the water? Nobody really
Yeah, that
knows
was the
this.
first thing I talked to Izzy about when we finished rewatching it last
Yeah,
night. I was
because
like,
like,
they never tell us how he.
yeah,
I thought
who?
it was the teacher for
I
a while. I was
I
like,
I
because he said, "I know your future."
I think it
He's like,
was the teacher, because there's like a brief frame. Sorry, Liz. I have you muted when Izzy talks. Whatever you just said didn't get caught.
No, you're fine. I was agreeing with Izzy. I was like, yeah, it had to have been the teacher
Yeah,
that
but
got him out.
yeah, because there's like a brief scene where someone jumps into the water right before like all those reels start flashing, like his, I guess, life flashes before his eyes again or whatever. And there's like a brief second where someone jumps in. The only person it could be is the teacher. Like, there is like, but they don't explain it at all.
"Oh,
What? I feel like I remember that scene, but wasn't it a kid? Like it to me, it looked like like either the adult Satoru or the kid Satoru because he was wearing that jacket, but I don't really remember it
I
all that
I
clearly.
mean, I don't know. I have to go back. I watched this one. I think I watched this one yesterday at work,
I'd
and
be
I
100% sus on the teacher if he saved him,
The
just like
teacher is
that."
obsessed with him at this point.
No, I know, but like as they've okay, just imagine they find Satoru in a car in a lake, and the teacher's just there.
How do you describe that?
Yeah.
How do you
How do you
get out
say,
of
"Oh,
trouble?
luckily I saw Satoru
Yeah, I
get
don't.
kidnapped"?
I think it 100. I think it's definitely the teacher, but like what we're talking about now. This could have been answered with like in between episodes. Like, here's how we found Satoru. He was obviously in rough shape because at the very beginning of episode 11, you're gonna find out he's in a coma. So like he obviously almost drowned. Like who? Like, it was probably the teacher, but like I don't think the teacher took him to the hospital. I think the teacher probably got him out of the car, left him in the snow, and was like, "Hope someone finds him." That's my
Yeah.
guess. But like, who found him? You know? And then it's like even hinted at that the girl. Like my guess is the girl who used to bully Kaio probably found him because near the end of the series, it shows how much she was involved in trying to help like raise funds and keep attention on Satoru and like not let anybody forget about him. But like that was never said. You know who, like, yeah, who knows how it went down.
He hadn't even talked to her yet. That was the opportunity he was gonna take. Was at the
Yeah, that's what he was trying to do was to talk to. Besides, I mean, he sat beside her in class, and besides the whole thing where she hid the money in Kaio's desk for that lunch money, and that in the first 6 episodes, I don't remember exactly what episode. Like, she was like,
shunned.
yeah, I mean, she was the most background of background characters. She had a name, and that was about it for this like last 6 episodes.
I will say they did a good job though of kind of like giving you the breadcrumbs
Oh
that
yeah,
she
100%.
was now lonely. And who was it? It was the boy, Hiromi, that
Noticed her.
mentioned it to
Yeah, because
Satoru. It was like, hey, did you notice that this kid is like now all by herself?
yeah, super standoffish and like doesn't hang out with her group of 3 other little kids that she was hanging out with at the beginning of the series.
And he hadn't tried to catch her another time getting on the bus because I think they were picking on her.
That's
No.
this episode. So he tried to run out of school and catch her before she got on the bus, and like the group of friends were all out there and like, oh, I think she goes to the hockey rink at this time, and like the scene before, it was those 3 girls talking about how their teacher was going to give them a ride to the hockey rink, and they were like, but guess who can't go? And they were talking about her or something like that. That's not exactly what they said. They're like, and so and so's not going, or whatever. But yeah, so
Invited her too later.
what?
The teacher had invited her to go, I
Yeah,
guess, kidnap her.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that was 10. Anything else really big stand out to y'all on this one?
Whenever he's dying and how the film is kind of like cutting out,
Mm-hmm.
just how he's like, dang, just like my life flashing before my eyes. Is this how it ends? Then cut to coma. That was good to me.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Glad
Yeah, let's see here. So, episode 11 opens up with a voiceover from the teacher. He's talking about how when he was a kid, somebody in his class had a pet hamster that gave birth to a bunch of babies, and he took some of them home and just dumped them in a bucket of water because he's a fucking freak. And then talking about some spider thread story. I didn't catch all of it. Basically about how some dude like used the corpses of somebody to climb up, and then as he tried to pull on this rope, it snapped and he went back to hell. I didn't look. I know you said you looked into this a little bit, Izzy, so I'll let you talk about that. But then let's see here. Satoru wakes up from a 15-year coma. They're in the year 2003. He has no memory of the events that led to him being in the coma. He reunites with Kenya, Kaio, and Hiromi. Well, I guess Kenya, Hiromi, and then Kaio. Kaio is now married and is raising a child. While recovering in the hospital, he befriends a young girl named Kumi who is there for leukemia. let's see here. And then it shows Yashiro, the teacher. He's now under an alias, and I think he's some sort of government official. He visits Satoru and lures him to the roof, and then Satoru reveals to him that he remembers everything. This kind of sets up the final episode. That's how this one ends. It's him being like, what's Yashiro, you son of a bitch, I remember everything. Something like that. He says something like that.
I think that's the next episode.
Yeah, that's how this one ends, and that's how the next one starts. But yeah, this one, like, well, I guess if you want to talk about the that spider thread story, what you looked into real quick, because I didn't catch a lot of it. I just heard the hamster part, and I was like, God, I hate the teacher at this point. When's he going to stop talking and advance the story?
So I can talk about the part in the manga too that's not on here, but ties into this here. But first, I'll start with the story. The original story tells of a cruel criminal called Kendata that's in hell, and then Buddha, seeing that Kendata once performed a good deed, which was sparing the life of a spider, lowers a single thread down to him to climb back up to paradise. Kendata, selfishly fearing that others will climb behind him, starts kicking down at him. And then, because of all that movement and just jerkiness, the thread snaps, sending him back down. And he plummets back to the bottom. And the moral is that salvation is not achieved through selfishness. No one can be saved alone. So it was just, it's an interesting story for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, your good deed. I lost the part on that one. But it was an interesting story how he tied that into his pet too.
Yeah, and then like I think after he recapped what that story was about, he's like, after I heard that story, I could see a spider thread basically coming out of the heads of the people who he would victimize. Like at first it was Kaio, then it was the other girl whose name I keep forgetting, and then Aya, yes, and then at some point it shifts to Satoru, and
it was a symbol of like hope or potential salvation that they were gonna have, because it was just like them being in a bad situation and them getting out of it, and then him just like being in control of that situation. Like, I'm just cutting this thread.
yeah,
I got it happen. Pretty cruel, I'd say, for sure. Seeing that and taking that route, being like,
yeah, it's like he sees the thread and he's like, I have to get involved. It's like these people's lives suck, so the only option is for me to kill them instead of trying to help. Basically, is how they set up his character at this point. And then the part that got me with this episode, I was like, man, I really hope that there's another revival, because Kaio cannot be with anybody but Satoru. So I was real sad about that. But it ends well, so I think it's just fine now. But during this episode, I was like, man, I'm pissed. Like, Kaio didn't wait for the boy, dude. She's out here. She's a player, dude. Didn't like it.
Looking back, right before we got on and watching that episode where they hid her in the bus, Kenya was smooth talking a little bit.
Yeah, Kenya
He's
was,
like,
but
you're my friend.
Kenya's not the one who married her.
Yeah.
Wasn't Kenya?
It wasn't Kenya?
Are you sure?
No, I'm pretty sure it was the chick dude.
Hiromi?
Hiromi?
Yeah, Hiromi. I'm pretty sure it was Hiromi.
I thought it was Kenya because he couldn't talk about it when he first
The
went to
mom
go
had
visit
stopped.
Satoru.
Yeah, the mom had.
And he had something that he wanted to say, but he didn't.
Yeah, I think the mom stopped him from talking about the past for some reason, but she didn't do that to Kaio. And Kaio marries
Hiromi.
What?
Sugita.
Dang, we both thought it was
I thought
Kenya.
it was Kenya.
That makes more
It
sense
looked like
to me
Kenya.
that it
Did
would
that
be
baby
Kenya.
not have like blonde, brown hair?
Yeah.
I thought that it looked more like Kenya.
Oh.
My bad.
Oh.
Good for Hiromi.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. Hiromi went from
Didn't die. Pulled.
dude. Speaking of Hiromi though, for a second, the transition from when he was a kid to an adult, he went from like I thought he was female until the show specifically said he wasn't. To when he's an adult, he just looks like a normal like dude that you would never mistake for anybody else. So like
Yeah,
his
he
I
grew
guess
into himself.
quote unquote glow up was wild.
His
Um,
cut definitely didn't help because I think there was an
No.
episode that the friends were like, "Look, if you put your hair up like this, you look like less like a girl."
yeah, it was when that new God Amy, what was it?
Aya.
Aya, damn dude, I will never remember this for some reason. When Aya was in the hideout, she's the one who did it. Like when she started coming around the hideout with the big fella.
I felt like the big guy and Aya had chemistry, and it doesn't seem like they ended up together.
They did.
They did?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, at least they're sitting beside well, we'll get in the very last episode. It looks like they're sitting beside each other in the restaurant when like there's a little montage of how Satoru's life turns out.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
To come back to the teacher though, in the manga, it's pretty dark. His backstory on everything and how he came to be the way he is. It's when he was young, him and his brother would like trick other girls into going into a shed, and the brother would take advantage of those girls.
Okay.
And then the teacher, yeah, it got dark so fast, like within a couple lines. Then the teacher would sit there, like, as a guard, and then he took it as like that was his duty as to making sure that what was gonna happen happened. So, and there was one time that this was a regular occurrence, and then a mom came looking for their daughter, and then they freaked out, and they tried to get the girl to stop like making noise, and they strangled her, and she like died. So they tried to bring her back to life, and they were starting to freak out, and then that's when the brother was about to frame the teacher, and that's when the threat appeared for the first time for him.
So did it appear over his brother?
Yep.
Nice.
So then he took out his brother and to cover it all up.
Damn. Oh wait, hold on, Liz. Hold on.
Pretty dark.
Sorry, restart. I mute you when Izzy talks, so it stops the echo. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm not surprised it's dark though, because this entire anime, like the first time I watched it, I was like, man, this is heavy. This topic is heavy.
I was not expecting this because like I've watched. I mean, not trying to like braggish or anything, but like I've been watching anime for a long time. I've been watching since I was a freshman in high school. So I've seen a lot of shows, and like usually you don't see this like heavy. Like there's been some heavy-ish topics in shows I've seen, but nothing compared to this. Like this is usually like Western media type of heavy stuff, you know, like shit you'd see in documentaries, like that kind of stuff. Like I feel like anime in general, even if you're looking for like the sad stories or something like that, like
They're more movies, like
oh yeah,
art
yeah.
more than an actual show.
Yeah, like if like the heaviest thing that I've seen that I could compare this to is a movie called The Sound of Silence or Koe no Katachi. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. Amazing, but like, and it's nowhere close. Like, as far as because like like I don't know, abuse of a child is like one of the heavier, most heavy topics. Then you throw in what happened in the manga. It's like, man, no wonder they cut it from the anime because it's like if they would have thrown that in. Who knows if this would have? It probably still would have been just as popular, but it would have. I mean, for me, it still takes the crown of heaviest thing I've seen, and anime wise. But yeah, I was surprised by how intense some of the themes were of this show.
I think it was a good decision to cut that because it was too dark for me to want
it
have that animated.
yeah, it tells you why he is the way he is, I guess, but it's also like it feels like they went for the most extreme version of why he is.
I think the hamster job did well.
Yeah, the hamster thing, and then the story of the thief in hell, I think kind of tied it all together. But it would have been interesting to see who the first thread appeared on, and they could have just been like, it was his brother. That's why he's so messed up, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
That's
We got somebody waking up.
Uh-oh. Baby's up.
Yep.
Well, yeah, for episode 11, let's see. I did like that basically Satoru regaining his memories was because of Kaio's child.
Yeah.
Like, that was, I don't know, I'm sure that has some kind of symbolic meaning, I'd imagine. I don't know what that could be, but for some reason, like, Kaio's child reaches out and Satoru touches his hand, and then all of a sudden, like, all these memories flood back into him.
Which I'm glad. I mean, it's nice to see that Kaio is alive and has a baby.
Yeah, if this show would have ended with being like, oh, yep, he was in a coma for 15 years, he has no memories. It's Yashiro, the teacher, he's a congressman or whatever now, some sort of government guy. I would have been like, man, what a absolutely awful way to end the show. Like, thank God there was a 12th episode, right? But like, like I didn't know really where they were going. Like in my mind, I was like, come on, another like episode 12, give us a revival. Let them make all the right choices. Let them end up with Kaio. But the way that episode 12 ends up going, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would after watching 11. I will say that.
Yeah, I liked how, yes, 11 wasn't just a sum it up, like everything good happened to him.
Yeah.
Everything good did happen to him to where everybody that he knows was saved and his future's different now. And everything that he did was worth it. And he says to Kaio, I mean, he was in coma, you know.
Yeah.
I did what I was supposed to do for a reason.
Yeah. That moment was nice with Kaio being like, we're sorry, we thought about waiting, but we didn't know if you'd ever wake up. I mean, she didn't say that, but for lack of a better term, he's like, I don't care. I did this to protect y'all. Whatever happened was worth it, basically. So like him comforting her, which, I mean, it was never suggested like that he wouldn't, or like that he actually did have a love interest for Kaio, because in my opinion, there's not really a love interest at all, but between Kaio and the, what's the girl that works at the pizza place?
Irie?
Yeah, Irie. Like, for some reason, I feel like he cares more for Irie in the future, his future self, like him being in the present, cares more for Irie than he does Kaio. So, like, if you think about it, like, those 15 years that he was asleep, there was no Kaio originally anyway, but there was an Irie. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe not all 15, but at some point, there was an Irie where there was no Kaio.
Yeah.
You know, and now Irie has no clue who he is, obviously, because at this point, different timeline, they've never connected up to this point, right? So, but like the way when we get into episode 12, I think the scene with her is great. Basically, I mean,
the film does hint like whenever Kaio leaves with the grandmother, she's like, "Oh, are you already looking for another girlfriend?" Because he started trying to help Aya immediately.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives that idea, and then
yeah, kind of. But even up to that point, you're still hoping like, oh, Satoru and Kaio will be reconnected sometime in the future. Like, you know, is I think what everybody who watched the show was thinking. But I don't know. Also, on the other hand, though, I do like that they, you know, didn't take the obvious love interest route.
Yeah.
And it made the ending better, I think, after I watched the ending. But in the moment watching it, I was like, why? Why would you do this to us? Do you want to wait for Liz to get into 12, or do you want to go into 12? Do you think?
We can go into 12.
Okay. So, episode 12, Satoru finally confronts Yashiro on the hospital rooftop after awakening from his long coma. Though physically weak, he outsmarts Yashiro by revealing he remembered everything and anticipated his moves, forcing Yashiro to expose himself again. The confrontation ends with Yashiro's defeat, as his obsession with Satoru is shattered. Years later, Satoru reconnects with childhood friends. It's finally, in a final full circle moment, he reunites with Irie under the same bridge before he got arrested. Again, super brief description there, but to get into more detail, they're on the rooftop. He says, "I remember everything," and then he reveals is like, "I'm the reason you've been living these 15 years. Like, without me, there is no you anymore. But I'm your obsession. I'm your reason to live." He says that to the teacher, and he's right. And like during this time to like convince his teacher of the stuff he's talking about, he tells him that, I wanted to stop you from killing all these people and my mom. And he's like, "Your mom? I've never even thought about killing your mom." He's like, "Well, that's why I said I know your future." Like another reason to make him believe him, I guess, even though this is now officially a completely different timeline. Yeah. And the scene's a little goofy. Because at first I'm like, oh man, he really is just going like full self-sacrifice. Because he goes to roll his wheelchair off the roof, and the teacher catches him, and he's holding on to him. And at some point, the teacher starts crying. He's like, "Oh, you are the only person who really knew me," and like lets him go, right? And then the teacher's just like, "Now there's no point for me living." He just looks up at the sky, walks to the edge, and then looks down. And this is the goofy part. Satoru and all his buddies and his mom. Satoru landed on a basically giant inflatable like stuntman thing, I don't know what they call those things, but like a pillow, giant air pillow basically. And just just winks at him. And I'm like, all right, that was goofy. That was goofy as fuck, I thought. Like, but I mean, you got him. Cool. I don't know how else they could have done it, but that was just a little goofy to me.
I don't think that they could have. I mean, they definitely could have done it a different way, I'm sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear
you. But one thing I thought about, I was like, that's the only way that they can actually get him in trouble, though, is they have to catch him trying to kill somebody, because he never actually killed any of those kids.
Right.
And so really, it's just about like intent.
Yeah, attempted on Satoru, but like he said, the statute of limitations, so they did have to catch him doing something else.
And I thought the teacher was going to go for him at the start, because that little gate started creaking, and I was like, the teacher's like explaining his side, like, "Oh, I just had to make sure you remember, so I can like off you with like full, just like pleasure of it."
Yeah, and then like
that you knew.
One thing, I'm sure she's fine, but they kind of didn't really touch on is the girl who was about to go into surgery. Is she all right? Because he poisoned her IV bag, And then it's like they kind of don't.
You touch on it after.
Did they? Okay, I assume she was fine, but I may have just missed it.
When the teacher is getting escorted off by the police, there's like a short conversation. And he asked about her, and they stopped it, but they didn't tell her what was going on because she was doing the surgery.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. But yeah, so like that all happens. Teacher goes away, and then there's kind of, I guess, like a montage of sorts. Like the closing song plays. There's a montage of like he gets out of the hospital. He finally becomes, a manga artist. He's hanging out with his friends. All this stuff's happening, and then when the music ends, he's in an office. He's talking to somebody about the next story he's writing. And then when he walks out, he's like, "Oh, congrats on whatever getting an anime." And then he goes to dinner with his buddies. And, everybody is reintroduced or, brought back in as the crew again. And then it I guess that's not the actual ending, but the actual ending is he's in his office working on, I guess, drawing manga or whatever he's doing. He says he's going to go for a walk, and he goes to the bridge where he was arrested in episode 6. And Irie, he's like, he's got his hands like in the photo mode, like you make that rectangle with your hands, and you're looking through it like a camera. And he's just looking around, and there's somebody just taking pictures. And then she walks up, she's like, "I can't believe we're getting this much snow. Do you mind if I hang out with you under here for a minute?" And then he's just like, he starts tearing up, and he just nods his head. Oh, he sees the butterfly during this too, but doesn't actually go back in time. And that's how Irie gets reintroduced, and then it's like end. Like,
Yeah.
so
I think
Which I
to
do
sum it up.
think that was a good
That
way
was
to end
perfect.
it.
dude,
Yeah.
it's the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood ending. It's like
Which is also one of my favorite animes.
Yeah,
So
it's
I guess I like those types of
it's like
endings.
it's not set in stone. No one has an actual. I mean, besides like everybody's saved, but it's like it's the ending where it's like these characters, they go and have a normal life now. Like there is no more story.
Yeah.
And then
No more bad
Which-
anyways.
Whenever they meet up as a group afterwards, Satoru is like blushing hard.
I was about to
when
say
Mika
this, yeah, at Aya,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like it's up in the air
Misato, but
because it's like, I mean, with Aya obviously being his age, but it's like the first 6 episodes, it's like, man, it's hard to hate Irie though, but she's a high schooler, so who knows?
right.
I mean, he has no love interest during this whole show except Kaio, but R.I.P. that ship, I guess.
Yeah.
Has a baby and marriage.
But yeah, so what major differences in the manga was there from what wasn't, besides with the teacher? Any other crazy things that didn't get adapted?
That was the biggest one.
That was
Yeah.
rock
Yeah.
on. All right. Well, any last thoughts on this one, guys?
Did you guys talk about? I loved the way they ended it because they kind of brought in uh Kaya's essay and about how she like a town without herself,
Yeah.
and they made it Toru. Did you talk about that?
No, we didn't actually. Not at all. Yeah, that's a good point. It was reading his essay about him wanting to be a hero and how he was standoffish with his friends, and then he was saying like the 15 years without him was Kaya's essay in the way of it was a town without him. Yeah,
And
that
his
was
friends live for him and for themselves.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was a good way to end it because it basically, I think the second episode opens with Kenya at some point asking Satori's like, "Did you read the student essay book yet?" And he's like, "No, I haven't read it." He's like, "You should read Kaio's part."
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I
this
do
one,
think you
this
could.
one, do what? I'm sorry.
Oh, I like how erased. Like you think it's mostly Kyle, right? But that part is gone, and he's fixed that. So we're now in his life, he's erased that. I didn't think it'd be, I guess, him just erasing the thought that, or the fact that Kyle died and the 3 other
Yeah.
girls. Oh boy, sorry.
Well, in all honesty, when I first watched this, I hated the coma. And I was like, this is stupid. Like the way that he is like in a coma and then it comes back and like, yes, he got the killer. I really hated it. But this time around, like rewatching it, I appreciate it a lot more.
So
Because you got to think that he already lived through those years. So it was like kind of a clean break.
Wait,
He
you
got
get to
his kids
see-
almost back to his
Well, you get to
old
see
life.
how his friends came in and like actually cared for him that time around, to where
Mhm.
the first
instead of him
Live.
just ending up alone and like,
he was alone and failing
Right.
artist.
Yeah.
yeah, I like I was talking to Izzy while you were going dealing with the youngin, and
Mhm.
yeah, I episode 11, I hated the coma too. Like I didn't, and also him not being with Kyle, I was like, man, this sucks. But then when I watched 12, I kind of enjoyed it. Like I was like, this is an interesting way to end it, I think. Because like the very obvious way would be like, oh, he saves Kaio, he gets saved from the car, and then episode 11 is like him getting saved, them catching the teacher, and then episode 12 is like him growing old with Kaio, right? That's the obvious answer.
Uh-huh.
The one that like people would like. That's the one you would assume would happen, and this one was like out of left field, completely out of nowhere. Coma 15 years. Kaio's with somebody else. Bam. Figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as a whole, this one was, I mean, easily top 10 out of everything I've ever seen. This one was great. I just can't believe I've never watched it until now for whatever reason.
Tried to find another anime similar to like just scratch that itch, and there is just not one. Like
The-
it's its own thing.
The only other one I've had with a theme somewhat similar, not as far as abuse, but as far as like being able to go back in time and trying to save someone's life, it was an anime called Orange.
Mm.
And it's a like more of a love story type anime, and it's pretty good. I haven't watched it in years. I had a friend in college though who I told to watch it because I think I watched it my freshman year of college maybe, and I was like obsessed with it for a little bit. I thought it was great, and I told somebody to watch it, and they said it was one of the worst they've ever seen. So I have mixed reviews on this one. Maybe one you might want to try out because it's similar in
Yeah.
that way where they go back. Like this girl gets an opportunity to go back and save somebody basically, and how she does it and how the mystery unravels. Yada yada. I haven't seen it in years. I just know the theme is similar, but nowhere near as heavy stuff. The only kind of heavy part was I think originally the dude. I don't want to say because I don't know if it's a spoiler, but if you ever watch it, it's called Orange. It's pretty good. It's the only similar type thing I've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was amazing. What? Anything else y'all want to talk about before we get out of here?
What shall we watch next?
Oh, that is a good question. I would imagine Liz will be joining us for a while until, if she wants, until Jake figures out his new routine. So, Liz, do you have any suggestions? It can be something you've watched before, something you want to rewatch, or something new you want to watch.
I would also like to point out, I'm pretty sure this week, or the next 2 weeks, One Punch Man's coming out. My Hero Final Season's coming out. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, dude, 50% of that sounds great. Well, so next week I will be in Florida, so I don't think unless you two want to have a single show, I don't know if there will be one. I can show you how to set up OBS and all that stuff. Super easy. But yeah, I'll be in Florida, and I obviously don't plan on taking my desktop with me. So,
Oh.
but yeah, if there's so we can do a really long one next week if we want to just do a whole show, a 12 or you know what I'm saying. We'll have 2 weeks to watch whatever we want to talk about. No pressure, Liz. If you don't have anything off the top of your head, you don't have to be the one to decide. But I just didn't know if there was something you've been itching to watch and needing an excuse to finally watch it.
Well, no. Yeah. Some of the shows that I watch are probably not super interesting for your audience. Like
We have no
the most
audience.
recent one that
Liz.
I
It
really
doesn't
liked
matter.
was Apothecary.
We are the audience.
Straight up.
Although Blue Log is one of my favorite sports animes, but I don't know that there's much to talk about with that. It's just an exciting one.
Straightforward, yeah. A lot of intense action.
Blue Lock.
Yeah, it's a
I
soccer.
would rewatch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood because it's been years and I really want to rewatch that, but that's a long one.
Yeah,
Like
it's 50 some
that would
episodes.
probably
I
be
don't think I'd be able to do that even
Yeah.
with 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
We definitely would not. We have a 1-year-old.
Oh yeah, yeah.
TV time is hard to come by.
Let's see here.
Another one.
Do you have a genre you prefer, either one of y'all?
Any fun.
Yeah, I watch a lot of different stuff. So.
Yeah, same.
If I were to rate this anime, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10.
Oh, same. Yeah, it's definitely a 9. It's if Full Metal Alchemist is a 10 for most people, this
Yeah.
this one is easily a 9, maybe even 9.5. Like it's hard to compare it though, because like Full Metal Alchemist has action and story. This one's really just story, but just story wise,
Hmm.
this one takes the cake from almost anything I've watched.
Yeah, it's not overdone. Animation's great. I like how soft it is. I did. Oh, one thing I did want to touch up on was at the end, he's wearing the same jacket as when he was a kid. I caught that when I was.
Oh, is he really? I didn't notice that. That's
Yeah, when
interesting.
he sees her under the bridge, he's wearing that same jacket, that tan with puffy jacket.
Huh. Um, let's see here. Is there anything you got off the top of your head that you'd want to watch?
Tokyo,
I'm sorry, you cut out what?
Tokyo Revengers has been suggested.
Tokyo Revengers? Ugh. What is that? I think, is that the one I'm thinking of? Tokyo Revengers. Okay. Yeah, we can do that if you want. Just fair warning, this one has one of the worst endings ever in manga.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, it's awful.
I've never watched it all the way through.
I haven't either. I watched the first season and then I started, like I do with everything nowadays, I started reading it. And man,
Uh-huh.
the ending of the, I don't know how the seasons go. I imagine they're going to change it, especially if they keep picking it up. But like, man, it's bad.
Oh, that sucks.
But we can watch it if that's what y'all want to watch. It's fine with me.
No, I mean, there's other stuff.
Oh, what about 2B Hero X? We talked about that one a couple weeks ago. That one, should be fully out now, or at least the first season. I don't know how many more they're doing, if they are doing any more. And with 2 weeks, we could, I mean, these ones are obvious. Like, we could do Nice. We could do, what's this dude that stands? I can't remember his name.
It was electric.
Yeah, there's Nice, and then there's Soul, and then Lucky something, Lucky Cyan. I mean, those 3 go to episode 10. We have 2 weeks, so we could do all 24 episodes if you wanted to, but that'd be a long podcast.
I would.
But if we did the first 3 heroes, then the next 3 are what's her name? Queen. Let's see here. Lolly again. Ghostblade? I don't know. I never made it this far the first time. Yeah, it looks like it is Ghostblade. Ghostblade has quite a bit of episodes. Holy shit! And then X in the last episode, or last arc, I guess. So yeah, that splits it up perfectly. If we go to episode, I mean, Queen only goes to 12. That'd be halfway. So if we went to 12, that would be Nice, Soul, Lucky Cyan, and Queen. You want to do that?
All right.
Sounds good.
Rock on. All right, everybody. If you end up watching this on YouTube and you enjoy what we have to say, then we're watching 2B Hero X next week.
Join us.
Yeah, please join us. Leave a comment. Talk in the chat. Please. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.